The Toronto housing market isn't always what the headlines make it seem. A lot of data gets thrown around, and while it's useful, it only tells us what happened last month, not what's happening today. If you really want to know where the market is going, you have to pay attention to what buyers, sellers, and realtors are experiencing right now. You might have seen headlines saying active listings in Toronto are up 70% year over year. That sounds huge, right? But let's break it down. That stat comes from the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board, which covers 6 different areas, not just the city itself. If you narrow it down to Toronto, the increase isn't as extreme. The biggest thing to know, the majority of these listings, about 70%, are condos. So while there are a lot more properties on the market, it's mostly condos, not houses. And that's where things get interesting. Right now, Toronto has more condos for sale than there is demand for. A lot of these are owned by investors who paid too much for pre-construction units years ago and are now trying to sell them, often for less than they paid. If a condo is priced right, shows well, and isn't tenanted, it sells. But many of the condos on the market right now are overpriced, tenanted, or just not desirable, and they're sitting there unsold. Compared to 5 years ago, some condos are selling for the same price or even less than in 2019. This doesn't mean the condo market is crashing, but it does mean sellers need to be realistic about their pricing. Otherwise, their property will sit for months without an offer. So what's the real story? There's a lot of inventory, but it's not the inventory people want. Freehold homes are in demand, while condos, especially investor-owned ones, are struggling. If you're thinking of buying or selling, understanding these trends is key. That's why I always recommend talking to someone who's actually working in the market, not just someone analyzing old data. If you found this helpful, follow for more updates. And if you have questions about the Toronto market, reach out anytime. benbasra@gmail.com.